Sister wives Janelle Brown, only one loyal to polygamy. If Cody Brown hadn't treated Janelle Brown and her children so poorly, would she have stayed in polygamy? Mary and Cristin have made it absolutely clear they never want to live polygamy again. However, Janelle's admitted she might try it again under the right circumstances. As the family unit continues crumbling on season 19, many viewers debate Janelle's attitude toward the lifestyle. Was Janelle Brown a fan of polygamy all along? Since leaving Cody Brown, Janelle has had plenty to say on the matter and no shortage of grievances. But is it polygamy she grew to despise or just her husband? Janelle, the only one that liked sister wives. A viewer asked on Reddit recently. I think Janelle is the only one that genuinely and truly loved being a sister wife. The OP went on to discuss how Janelle converted to the AUB from the mainstream LDS church. She also seemed to fight for the communal home again and always enjoyed the independence that came along with sharing Cody with other wives. I believe she was not interested in a traditional marriage, and even though she saw the favoritism from the beginning, it didn't bother her until it affected her children, the OP continued. If Cody hadn't turned on her kids, I think she would have stayed. Sister wives fans weigh in on the idea. Other Reddit users had mixed feelings about the OP's points. They argued Janelle Brown certainly enjoyed elements of polygamy, but perhaps not the idea altogether. They noted, I think Janelle enjoyed the benefits of having Cristin love and raise her kids, but I don't think she liked sharing Cody any more than the other wives did. I think she pretended. Janelle liked having her independence and a man in her life who she only had to see a few days a week. I don't think she will ever be in a monogamous marriage. She wouldn't want a man around 24/7. I don't think Janelle liked sister wives, but she wasn't the type of woman to stay at home with the children. So having sister wives was beneficial to her so she could work and be the breadwinner in the early years. Janelle seemed more indifferent to sister wives. I always thought that Janelle would have done well as a truck driver's wife, but then I guess that would leave her to take care of her kids alone without help. I think she's definitely cut out for a polygamous life, but she deserved a better partner than Cody. Janelle Brown had always prided herself on being steadfast. Through decades of marriage in the plural family led by Cody Brown, she'd carved out her role as the pragmatic, steady force who kept the family grounded. But now, with the once unshakable bonds of the sister wives fracturing like a desert monsoon splitting parched earth, Janelle found herself at a crossroads. Was she truly the last loyal adherent to the family's once sacred principle of polygamy? The signs of discontent had been building for years, but the implosion felt sudden. Cristin had left Cody with an unapologetic resolve, choosing to build a new life free from the constraints of plural marriage. Mary, once the emotional cornerstone of the family, had drifted into an existence marked by isolation and unresolved grief over the loss of her closeness with Cody. And Robin? Well, Robin seemed more entrenched in her monogamous relationship with Cody than ever. Her claims of heartbreak over the family's unraveling met with skepticism by the other wives. And yet, here was Janelle, the logical one, the steady one, the one who had never sought the spotlight or indulged in emotional theatrics. Her loyalty to the principle of polygamy, to the shared vision of building a united family bound by faith and commitment, had never wavered. Or had it? Janelle's small, neatly decorated home in Flagstaff was quiet that morning, save for the faint hum of the coffee maker. She sat at the kitchen table, a steaming mug in hand, flipping through an old family photo album. Images of birthdays, family trips, and chaotic group dinners stared back at her. Each photo felt like a relic of a bygone era, a time when the Brown family's unity seemed unshakable. Mom, do you ever feel like you're holding on to something no one else wants? Maddie, her eldest daughter, stood in the doorway, her expression a mix of curiosity and concern. Janelle looked up, startled. Maddie had always had a knack for cutting through pretense. Sometimes, Janelle admitted, setting the album aside. But loyalty isn't about doing what's easy. It's about staying true to your values, even when it's hard. Maddie nodded but didn't look convinced. But what if the values you're loyal to don't make sense anymore? What if they're hurting you? Janelle didn't have an answer. Instead, she sipped her coffee, letting Maddie's words hang in the air. Later that day, Janelle met Cristin for lunch at a local cafe. Despite their differences, the two women had grown closer since Cristin's departure from the family. There was a freedom in Cristin now, a lightness Janelle couldn't ignore. You're glowing, Janelle said as Cristin settled into her chair. Cristin laughed. Freedom looks good on me, doesn't it? Janelle smiled, but there was an undercurrent of sadness. Do you ever miss it? The family, I mean. Christine's expression softened. I miss the idea of it, what we were supposed to be, but not what it became. Janelle nodded, her thoughts drifting to her own complicated feelings. I still believe in the principle, I always have, but I don't know if what we're doing now is even polygamy anymore. It's fragmented. Cristin reached across the table, placing a hand on Janelle's. You've always been the strongest of us. But strength doesn't mean you have to carry something that's broken beyond repair. That evening, Janelle found herself in a rare conversation with Cody. He'd stopped by her house, ostensibly to check in, but his defensive posture and the way his eyes darted around the room suggested an ulterior motive. Janelle, we need to figure out where we're going as a family, he began, his tone more commanding than collaborative. She raised an eyebrow. As a family, or as what's left of one? Cody bristled. I'm trying to hold this together, Janelle, but it feels like no one else is willing to try. Holding it together, she repeated, incredulous. Cody, you've been so focused on Robin that the rest of us have become optional. He frowned. That's not fair. Isn't it? Janelle's voice was calm but firm. I stay because I believe in this lifestyle, in the family we were supposed to build. But it's not the same anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. Cody leaned back, his frustration evident. So what are you saying? Are you leaving too? The question hung in the air, heady with implication. Janelle took a deep breath. I don't know. I need to figure out what loyalty means to me now. If it's to you, to the principal, or to myself. That night, Janelle couldn't sleep. She sat in her living room, the flicker of candlelight casting shadows on the walls. Her thoughts were a whirlwind of memories, doubts, and questions. She'd always been the practical one, the problem solver. But this was a problem with no clear solution. In the quiet of the early morning, Janelle pulled out her journal. Writing had always been her way of sorting through emotions she couldn't speak aloud. Why do I stay? She wrote. Is it faith, habit, fear of what comes next? Or is it because I've always been the one who stays, who holds things together? The words poured out, raw and unfiltered. She wrote about her love for her children, her hope for a family that felt whole, her frustration with Cody's favoritism, and her lingering belief in the principle of polygamy. By the time the sun began to rise, Janelle felt a strange sense of clarity. She didn't have all the answers, but she knew one thing for certain: her loyalty was not blind. It was thoughtful, intentional, and rooted in a deep sense of purpose. Whether that purpose aligned with the life she was living now remained to be seen.